And welcome back to episode 27 of the Football Fanatic podcast. Declan here, and with me, as always, the reliable Daniel Coulter and Flowered Costello.
That
Flowered, how
isn't a
you?
blooper. That isn't a blooper.
That's not a blooper. That's me. That's meant for going forward. How you doing, lads? How are you?
All good,
Good
Deck.
tech.
All good. Not too bad. I
Good
was in
stuff.
Barcelona there during the week. That was the height of things.
You
Very good.
scouting, were you? You
I'm
scouting?
doing a bit of scouting, yeah. It's mad. Girona are actually ahead of them in
Yeah,
the
I
table,
Yeah,
know.
yeah,
table,
yeah.
which
Girona
is a
are
bit
flying. And
mental, but
for those of you that don't know, Girona are part of the City Football Group.
oh, there you go.
And as well as that, Pep Guardiola's brother is like the CEO or whatever of Girona
They own
Football.
like 43% of them, no, or something, no?
Something like that, yeah. So I
Yeah,
mean,
yeah.
but yeah, so Guardiola's brother is like very high up with the Girona, office team CEO, whatever. Um, yeah. So,
You're saying you're
Dan,
leaving it very vague. You're leaving it very loose there, aren't you? Very vague about it all.
what do you want me to say?
Aren't you buying a guy from them? Savio. Is it
Yeah.
Savio? Is it?
There's talk about, but I mean,
Hmm.
I don't know. We'll
Another
see.
charge, another
Yeah,
116 now. That's
that'll be another one.
116 now.
Hmm.
Fucking hell.
Dan, how was your weekend?
It was good, Declan. I had the pleasure of your company for the City and Chelsea game. You came in, as your usual self, lovely, happy, smug, arrogant, expecting a nice, easy 3 points. And needless to say, you were twitching throughout, and in particular, in the last 15 minutes, you were calling for penalties left, right, and centre. You were
We
desperate, Deck. You were
we
desperate.
we may as well get right into it. So City versus Chelsea, 1-1. City weren't at their best. I wasn't twitching. I wasn't shouting for
I thought you had
penalties.
Tourette's.
Oh my God. There was look, the result itself, City played poorly, I thought. We had numerous Haaland had numerous chances that he should have
I
taken.
hear it's the new Nunes. Is he Haaland? That's what I'm
And,
hearing.
no, he's not that bad yet, but what do you call it? He would on another day he would have put two or three of them away, but there were a couple of players, not just him. I thought Doku had an off game. Dan, you will kind of vouch for me as well that I was giving out about Doku during the game as well. I
Mm.
just felt that he was holding up the play. That he wasn't
Mm.
going to the byline as much. He was literally stopping it. Even towards the end when we were searching for the second one, he just stopping the play and kind of bringing it back. And he was very indecisive, I thought.
Was he a lot more like Grealish? Would you say
A
that's the
little
area
bit,
where
yeah.
Grealish plays, isn't it? Yeah.
Absolutely. Definitely more like Grealish than
Just on
himself.
Doku, like he's obviously he's an electric player. We kind of said, oh, he's been a great signing. He got, what was it, 4 assists or some mad in one game, wasn't it?
Yeah,
Was it 4 assists?
Mm.
earlier on the
He's
season, yeah.
got a total of, I think, 3 goals or assists in the rest of all the other games.
Mm.
Like, it's not great, really,
He,
if you
he
think
missed a
about
lot
it.
of games, though, didn't he? After
He
that, he
did.
kind of
He was out
He's
for
played, I think, 16, 17 games
yeah.
or something like
uh,
that. So it's just like, his numbers could be skewed just from that one game where he played brilliant stuff. But he has the same move. Like if you can stop him going to the byline,
yeah.
which is difficult,
Mm.
if you can stop him going to the byline, you stand a chance of just shutting him out of the game. Like,
Yeah. He again, it's what is it? It's the acceleration. It's the kind of movement from the stop.
yeah,
It's kind of stop. I don't know what the word is. There's a
the
word for it.
starting, the starting, yeah, starting
That,
pace, like whatever. Yeah,
that's it. And basically,
Yeah.
no, that's what he was known for earlier on in the season, and he's still doing it. But he's checking back, and he's done it so many times against Chelsea that it was really frustrating to watch. Um, yeah, apart from the other team, I thought maybe could have brought on Bernardo Silva a little bit earlier. But don't get me wrong, look, it's a point, and for a little while there towards the end, I was thinking this is just going to be a 1-0 smash and grab by Chelsea. But look, it's a point. It's not the end of the world. It's not a great result because like should be a game. It's a game we should have been winning. Um, I was annoyed, Dan, as well for the foul on Kyle Walker by Sterling in the penalty box. Howard, no, not for you.
not a chance.
He was fucking
The
adamant.
ref, yeah, the
People in the
ref.
pub were looking at him like he was
Yeah,
screaming
yeah.
for it.
The ref made a great call, really. I think it was, and I think Match of the Day called it as well. It was actually a bold call, but a great call. Like Walker knows exactly what he's doing there. Like he knows exactly what he's doing. He's making
Insinuating.
insinuating the
There you go.
contact. He's insinuating the contact, and
Well, hold on.
he put his leg in the pathway of Sterling's basically running stride.
Yeah.
Like, what do you expect to happen when you do that? And then what annoyed me the most about when he threw a tantrum then on the ground, like he was in, like he was trying to do the worm there in WWF.
I thought it was a spinneroonie.
Fucking hell. It was a bit like, throwing the toys out of the pram, like we're kind of arrogance.
Yeah,
Like I was
but
so used
hold
to
on.
getting these decisions. Like it was a Stonewall foul out for me. It was never not a penalty. No
Dan,
way.
you were kind of 50-50 at the time.
No, no, I didn't think it was a penalty. No, no,
No,
no.
no, you were. You were kind of.
Yeah, in real time, obviously, because you kind of see like
Yeah.
this collision, and especially like kind of as you said, Walker made the most of it, and
Mm,
maybe there's probably that kind of thing of City always fucking penalties, so like you would
yeah.
expect it to be pointed at to the
Uh,
spot, but no, I don't think it wasn't. It wasn't a penalty.
yeah.
He put. Oh yeah, I get what match of the day we're
Yeah,
saying, and I get Howard that you're saying that like Walker put the foot out to make
yeah.
contact. I
Mm,
get that, but like we have seen so many penalties given for that exact reason that like the foot, the striker, whatever the
yeah.
winger, they
Ha-
get their foot into a position to ensure that
yeah.
contact is made. The defender kicks them in the
Yeah.
ankle and the
And
calf,
they've given it. Yeah.
and they've given it. So I mean,
Yeah, yeah,
on
yeah.
that basis,
But that's grand. Like, but they're not penalties. You know what I mean? Like Havertz has actually done that a couple of times this season. Done exactly what Kyle Walker done, and he's got booked. He's got booked before, and he's never. I think one went to VAR, and it was overruled, so it wasn't a penalty. Like they do it, but they are clamping down on it
Mm.
this season especially. And in fairness to the ref, to actually get that call right in real time is pretty impressive. It'd be a kind of thing you might go to VAR and then it maybe gets turned over as not a
Yeah.
penalty. You know what I mean?
If that's the thing though, if it was a thing that the ref had pointed to the spot, VAR probably wouldn't have overturned it, would they,
It's
Howard?
it's a hard one, but it happened this season where there has been contact and the ref
Mm.
has given a penalty and they've
yeah.
overturned it and
Overturned it,
said
yeah,
it
yeah.
hasn't either been enough contact or they've manufactured the contact. Like
But Howard, that wasn't against City though.
No, that's the thing. Yeah, yeah. I thought the second shout was a bigger shout. The one, the
Well,
handball, potential handball. I thought that was slightly more of a
No.
shout
and
of a
say
penalty. I still didn't think it
I
was a penalty. I still didn't think it was a penalty, but
I disagree with that one. I don't think it was a handball at all. I don't think
yeah.
whatever the defender's name is, but I do think someone was pulling back on Rodri's jersey
Yeah, but
half a second
like
before
I
that.
see,
So like,
Deck. This problem is that you're so used to getting easy, soft decisions like this, like you've done
no,
in the
we're
United
not.
game, like you got in the United game, the Highland decision, like that happens every day of the week, but no other team actually gets them decisions. And now all of a sudden it's happening to City again, and it's actually you're not getting decisions. It's like Jesus, sure, it's a pull on a jersey, like.
He's
Yeah,
disgusted. You look at him
no,
in his
no,
face.
no.
It's disgusted.
I'm not discussing
No,
that.
look. I'm only.
This
I
is
kind of.
bullying. This is
I
this is
wind you.
on.
I'm winding you up to a point, but the only thing about the handball thing I would say is like he did move. He does move his hand towards the ball, and then and his hand hits the ball, and then he kicks the ball away. Like so, he's kind of using his hand as a tool to basically put the ball on his foot. That's the only reason why I still don't think it's a penalty, but it's definitely
Yeah.
the best shout he had. And like the City players going 90 at the end,
Well,
like trying to get into the ref's face, like, come on, it's a
if
penalty,
you
like last second, trying to get what they can out of it. But look,
if you keep bullying me in the way you are, I'm going to use my hand as a tool and shut you up. I'm only joking.
Can we just bring it back though, small? But I suppose
yeah,
looking at it, like that's 6 games City have had against I suppose teams in the
yeah,
top six, and they've only won one of them, and that's kind of maybe more. That's probably not City like. Howard, he's there, is he? He's gone. He's had
Just
enough.
he's
Have you
disappeared.
done something there? You done some sort of black magic there?
I know. He'll show up eventually when he's hungry. There he's back.
back.
And I was just saying there's only one of the that was against United was their only win. That's probably the most un-City like thing about this is the when you look at that record against the top
Yeah,
Yeah.
sides,
fair
having been
enough.
able to put a few of them away,
And to be honest, Dan, they had chances. Chelsea had plenty of fucking chances. They could have been
Yeah,
2 or
Yeah,
3
fair
nil up.
enough.
Now I know Haaland missed a handful of chances, but like if you're City, like City usually wouldn't be given that many chances away. And like you look at the Liverpool performance without Salah and a few others against Chelsea in Anfield, and like come on, it could have been like
it
7
could
or
have been
8
six or
nil.
seven.
Like
Yeah, yeah,
you know what I mean?
yeah.
Like so that
Y-
would be the most worrying thing from a City point of view is
Yeah,
it's not just the result, but also the chances that you were giving up. Like.
I'd love to go back and if you were to go back and look, I think that goal that they conceded, right? And fair enough, it was great play by Sterling, like he did. He turned Walker
Mm.
into that. No, that was poor defending because Raheem Sterling has absolutely no left foot. You know exactly what he's going to do, and
Yeah,
he's
yeah,
still
that's a good point.
burnt
Yeah,
inside him. But like, if you look at the City goals they're conceding this season, I'm interested to see they seem to concede an awful lot of that type of goal, where like it's kind of they're pushing, and then suddenly two passes later, there's a ball over the top. There's one man isolated one on
yeah.
one, and then it's just about whether or not the player can take the chance. And this season, I think City have always been a bit like that, maybe a bit more open than usual this season, but usually they get away with that kind of thing. Where this season now they're getting punished quite a lot more
Yeah.
than they
Yeah,
have been.
maybe.
They don't give away many chances, but the
No,
quality of chances they're giving away this season are very good chances. You know what I mean? Like if
For
you he doesn't,
sorry,
yeah,
just for the Sterling goal, like it was Walker's at fault.
mm.
He got completely pulled away from Sterling behind him, went towards Akanji. Jackson just missed ball across the
good
box.
pass,
Very
yeah,
good
a
Mm.
pass.
good weight.
Walker got done and he got turned. So I mean, yeah, Walker, me and Dan were talking, and probably not the brightest of players.
Yeah, I get that, but like at the end of the day, it was 2v2. Like you know what I mean. It wasn't.
Yeah,
It was a bad chance to give away in the first place. Like it was a ball
Yeah,
straight away across. You'd nearly expect a striker or a forward with good quality to make a chance out of that. So I wouldn't be
yeah.
too harsh on Walker. Although, as Dan says, your England teammate, you know him inside out. You play with him like he's no left
Yeah.
foot. Come on, like
yeah,
And my point
absolutely.
probably on Walker as well, just to follow on that would be like he has the recovery pace, but he often at times needs to use it from the
Yeah,
point of view of that I
mm,
don't think he's intelligently actually the best positional
yeah,
defender. The problem is the likes of Trent doesn't have the recovery pace to get back, where
yeah.
Walker can fill that, by I'm not saying he's not a good player, he's in a great servant for City and that as well, but I do think that he relies at times on that recovery pace because he can get caught out of position.
Yeah.
But look, it's one of them, as I said, Sterling could have that chance 9 times out of 10 to do fuck all with it. And he's done that
mm.
most of the season where he got in great positions and he's
He
fluffed his
missed
lines
one
on several
beforehand.
occasions.
He missed one
Yeah,
a few
yeah.
minutes before that. Like yeah,
He's been fluffing all season, really.
Yeah.
As have a lot of the Chelsea forward line. But in fairness, they've improved, just to talk on them for a minute as well. Like, have definitely seem to have improved a bit. Thiago Silva being out, it was well documented there that the two lads at centre half really put in a really good performance. And they looked a bit more solid than they
mm.
did say a couple of weeks ago in the game at Anfield. There wasn't as many holes or gaps. So, they'll have a bit more confidence probably going into
Yeah.
the cup final next weekend,
Well, they've been
Just
crying out. Sorry, just on they've been crying out to play Colwell like left centre back, but they've been playing him
Mm,
left back. And like
yeah.
you hear some of the Chelsea fans online, they're just like, "What are they doing playing him
With Chilwell
left
fit.
back?"
With Chilwell
Yeah,
fit
with
as well.
Chilwell fit, like
Yeah,
they're
yeah.
playing him, and then they're playing Thiago Silva and Disasi or whoever. Like he's probably their best centre back, and they're playing him left back. So
Mm.
it's interesting to see if that does change how they play it, if they're basically make big improvements now from
yeah.
this type of lineup that they have.
Yeah.
So basically, Dan, you touched on the Carabao Cup final next Sunday, so we may as well
Mm.
next go
Oh yeah.
to Liverpool versus Chelsea. But you had a good win at the weekend, Brentford 4-1, but it came at a cost. Yet again, it seems to be a weekly thing.
Mm. Mm.
Just the win, it was a good win and some excellent finishes. But can you just list off for me who is injured for who is definitely out next Sunday against Chelsea?
But there was a couple that were going to be out before the game against Brentford. So Allison was a doubt, but I think he was always kind of said he wouldn't be back. I think Allison's looks like it's going to be trying to get back to the City game, so he's out
Okay.
for a couple of weeks. Now, I thought Kelleher done himself good justice at the weekend in the game. I thought he played well, looked assured, looked confident. So I think that it is a blow because you're probably losing the best goalkeeper in the world, but at least we have a decent replacement in
Yeah.
Kelleher to come in for him. Trent, it sounds like he's out as well, so he got a reoccurrence of that knee problem that he had. Again, luckily, we have a fantastic right back who again was quality back in the side after just losing his father. He is
Yeah.
a very level-headed guy on very young shoulders, Bradley, and I think he is exceptional again. So again, I think we're kind of lucky in the sense that another player has kind of stepped up there. Jota being the big one. I think Jota, you could argue, has been nearly the best player in the league for the last 2 months, not just for Liverpool. I think in
Yeah.
the league, I think he's been near enough the best. And in that first half against Brentford, until he got injured, he was unbelievable actually in that first half. But the talk is that he's going to be out for 2 months, that it was his PCL, not his ACL. They're saying 2 months, but they haven't got the further kind of checks. So it's kind of a bit of hearsay as well, but reports in Portugal are saying more like 2 months than say 6 to 8 months, which of course is great, but it's still a massive blow considering how
Yeah.
effective he's been. So he's out. Curtis Jones got a kind of an ankle injury. He's fucked as well. So he's out. And I don't know. There's a lot of talk online saying he could be out of the Euros that because we're talking about
Who,
possibly getting into
Jones?
there was talk about him possibly getting into the team. Yeah, there was reading stuff online, but again, there's no. There was talk that it was a
Didn't know it was that serious. I didn't know Jones was
talk
that
about it
serious.
being Achilles, and then again, you don't know what that kind of an injury. If it's a rupture, what he's fucked. But like there
Yeah.
was talk that it was maybe an Achilles injury, but it remains to be seen. We're playing Luton on Wednesday, so you'd imagine Klopp will have news tomorrow on both of them. He's definitely out of the final as well. Szoboszlai is touch and go whether he'll make it. Nunes had a muscle strain taken off half time, so it was precautionary, but again, that still would be dodgy about like will he play if the cup is finals on Sunday, and if he has a muscle issue will he play on Wednesday against Luton? Salah as well was another one that like there was a lot of media doing the rounds there that he might have had a reoccurrence of his. Now nothing has come out from the club around. I was checking
Yeah.
all day to see who's that. So there's nothing coming out. That could be just something kind of made up because when they're taking the piss out how many injuries we already have.
Yeah.
Time will tell with that one because it wouldn't have been the case that we would have been bringing him on with he would have been probably only getting maybe 20 minutes of the match as opposed to what he played about 50 minutes. So so I'm just thinking now, is there anyone I'm missing there? Well, Matip was already
Thiago.
out. Thiago, like they're out already, kind of long term, they're
Yeah.
already going to be out. But there's a fair whack of players that are going to be missing. And
Yeah.
we're kind of, I suppose, if you look at it from the negative side, like it's a lot of injuries, especially when your rivals have nearly everybody back fit. The one positive you can kind of take though is the players that have come in to say when Robertson and Simicast were out, I thought, oh fuck, what are we going to do? But Gomez really came into his own in that position of left back. Elliot, when he's come on in games, has impacted him. So you're kind of like, right, if Jones is out, maybe Elliot will get into the team, and he's done okay. So Gap goes well, like as much as he hasn't started games. His actual, his general kind of goals assists, he's been in and around it. So we are able to get goals from other places, and like you've seen the effectiveness of Salah when he come on then as well, like the weekend. So it's a long injury list. It's
Yeah.
strange for some of them because some of them it's kind of they're back, and then suddenly it's reoccurrence, which makes you think, right, well, Klopp won't be bringing them back too soon. Are they kind of
I read
what's going on there?
I read a report today as well. Like there's a bit of a highlight being placed on the medical team at Liverpool. Like are they being rushed back just a little
Yeah.
bit too
Yeah,
soon?
sometimes it can just happen, like I think the big ones for you are Trent, Allison. I think the two that like Jota has been unreal and he's such an asset, but like he had a class first half of the season without him starting mainly, like you know what I mean? So it's not like detrimental. I think you know what I mean? I know I'm just saying like from a completely, your title's gone chances.
No,
Like
I'm not saying that at all.
yeah, you still have Salah, Nunez, and Diaz as a strike force if once Salah comes back, which is pretty good. Okay, and you rotate in Gakpo, and that's kind of what you have. Like that'll be the total. Now, if you can play, you have a lot of games coming up, so if you can keep all of them fit for all that, then that's where the Jota thing will come out. Don't get me wrong, I think Jota's class, and like he'd be unreal to have. He's probably your second best forward, like. But I'm just saying it from a point of view that you can still manage, I think, from that forward line. You know what I mean?
I think what the negative side of it would be from the point of view of the bench quality because we've got I think near enough the top amount of goals. And if you've seen the amount of games, you've both seen it. Amount of games this season where Liverpool have made a few changes, and then suddenly they've either got back into a game and won it, or they've been shite and then managed to grind out a result. So that's where the issue is because even
I know what you mean.
some of the young lads like Ben Doken, that he's after going for ankle surgery, he's out. There is young players there like Bobby Clark, there's a few, but in the attacking positions you said there, like we couldn't afford any more now. It's kind of like if Nunes you couldn't afford to kind of be like looking at Europa League with the Carabao Cup or still the FA Cup and being like relying on we only have maybe 3 fit forwards, maybe 4. You know what I mean? But look, I think it has come at a cost, but I wouldn't think it's all doom and gloom as they're saying, Howard, because like it is a decent squad and there's players that have stepped up. I think Gapco is one who can come in and can get goals and can get in around it. A worry would be just the midfield about the balance of it, and that's kind of the thing I would be concerned about because Jones to kind of come into his own there. He'd be doing very, very well in the middle of the field. You're looking at it now going right, Endo, McAllister, and Szoboszlai. If you have the 3 of them fully fit, that's probably your starting midfield.
You need to keep them fit. Like you need Szoboszlai coming back, and he can't be dropping out between now. And same with Salah. I think like there's a few key players there that like because you're missing a few now, Jones and all that. Like if you don't have any sort of if any of the key players go, you're 1 or 2 injuries away now from a proper crisis.
I think the biggest just to find the position. I think the biggest issue we would have would be a Van Dijk got injured because
Oh yeah.
Matip is already out. You'll be looking at Kwanzaa kind of stepping up and playing game in game out alongside Kanate. You could possibly put Gomez there, but I think Salah, Van Dijk, they're still, Allison, they're still the kind of ones where you can't be losing them for, especially coming into now the running and losing them for a period of time. But anyway, it's not all doom and gloom, is what I'd say. Even though it is frustrating.
We're all optimistic, Dan.
And it was brilliant
It's
at the
all
weekend.
going
And you know
down the
what? It was
toilet.
one more thing as well. It was beautiful at the weekend when I was putting in about the injuries, and I got Declan, who's it's all about the love of the game, and was very very sympathetic to Liverpool's injuries, sending about 20 emojis with smiley faces and tears,
Yeah.
and saying "fuck Liverpool" and "fuck you, Dan." So it's all about the game though when it comes to Tech. It's all about having this nice lovely title running. He's a very friendly man.
It is one thing on Liverpool game. It was impressive them winning the way they won the game, especially after the injuries. You know what I mean? Having them two injuries early on, and still Brentford away is never easy. But can I
No.
just say some of the
it's-
defending for Brentford was
That
was
Ajer lad
bad.
that came in, your man is Ajer or whatever his name is that came in
I
for
don't know. The
Pinnock.
guy, the blonde lad, is a left
Yeah,
back or
yeah.
something. He was just completely away with the fairies there, and Salah just ran
Yeah.
in behind him.
Yeah, no, they did second half in particular. Pinnock was there like main state at centre back, and he was injured, he was missing. But they got caught out very badly for a couple of the goals, and it was as you said, it was comical stuff, like
Yeah,
really comical stuff. Yeah.
All right. Dan, I love your optimism despite the injury crisis. Is it a crisis yet? Probably not just yet, but again, one more and it could be. We'll see. What do you call it? It has made Sunday's game against Chelsea a lot more interesting because going into it, a fully fit squad, there's only one winner.
yeah.
At the moment now, with the injuries that you do have, and Chelsea's kind of, I want to call it an upturn in form, maybe. Yeah, I think you can call it that. So
I think the thing that they already got confidence in the last couple
yeah,
of results, but also then as well when you're seeing that Liverpool players dropping like flies,
yeah,
they have to kind of gain a bit from that. I'd still be confident enough that if we can put out a decent enough side at the weekend, again Chelsea, it's in behind that like City, they'll be trying to cause us problems on the
yeah.
counter. But I do think that we'd have enough to beat them. Yeah.
We shall see. All right, now there's a reason Howard is so chirpy on this so far
Have I
today.
been happy?
You've been very chirpy. You've been bouncing, man. You've been giving out about the rest of us. And what do you call it? It's because Arsenal are firing in goals left, right, and centre. I think of the three of our teams, they're the informed team at the moment. 11 goals in your last two games. You put 5 past Burnley. Granted, it's not the most difficult thing to do, but yeah, how confident are you right now, Howard?
Good question, because I think since the two losses over Christmas, they scored 21 goals and given away 2 goals, so they've plus 19 on their goal
Right.
difference.
Okay.
So that's been not what we thought, not what I thought anyway as a fan, that they were going to be able to turn around and be so convincing in regards to picking up goals. Like I think the trip to Dubai did them world of good. I think they kind of reset and kind of treated the first half of the season as a different part of the season, I guess. So the second half, look, the way I'd look at it is he's doing a lot. He's doing a lot different. He's doing a lot of stuff differently tactically.
What did they get up to in Dubai?
Ben White was out getting the suntan, getting the suntan together. That was about the height of it. No, they I think look, they probably just worked on a few bits and pieces. Like it was what struck me is like the way they've played now and the fluidity of it is completely different than what I thought they could get to. So I suppose what I'm getting at is I was never harping on to you, oh, Party needs to come back. We need to get Party in there because with Rice in midfield, he's good and all that, but we just haven't really we don't have that punchiness in midfield, that passing through the lines that we had when we had Party. That was my kind of personal opinion. And we were winning games in the first half of the season, but we were doing winning bits and pieces, but just getting over the line in some games. The performances were okay. Defensively, very solid, but not from an attacking point of view. Now what's happened is it's starting to click. Like the whole team starting to click. Odegaard he's not playing in a 10 position anymore. He's coming back. He's nearly a double pivot with Rice at times. He's been doing that beforehand, but like it takes time for players to learn new systems and new positions. So that's happened. Havertz is in now. Like teams actually don't know where Havertz is going to pick up positions. He's playing here, he's playing there. So that's happening. Then you have Trossard beside him. He's dropping into midfield. So there's a lot going on, like in the grand scheme of things. Ben White now is inverting. He's doing the Zinchenko role. So Zinchenko is injured. So they have a lot going on now, and it's completely like I think Arteta looked at last season. And he was like, well, he probably didn't expect the start that we had last season, but then he probably thought like he didn't have anything in reserve to spring out for the second half of the season tactically. And I think he's brought that away, and he's like, right, I'm going to have a few things that I'm going to be able to put together for the second half of the season. I think that's why we're seeing. We don't know. Teams can't really figure them out at the moment, and maybe that will take a bit of time. But they're in a strong position now to have the likes of Timber and Party and Tommy Yasu and all that come back. So they're pretty
Party, are you
strong.
sure? Are you
Party's
sure? Are
come
you
back.
sure
Yeah.
he's coming back?
Well, he's supposed to be in the squad for the Porto game on Wednesday. So let's see. But look, all I'm saying is it's starting to click a lot more than what I thought it was going to be. I thought like the first half of the season, I thought we needed different players in there to hit a new level, but we've managed to hit a new level with the same personnel in there. I think it's looking well. Can I just say a couple of things on Arsenal in general, like in the last year or two, like, I think maybe it's the reason why people are getting angry with them celebrating or whatever. Like they have like the third youngest team in the league, like all average age of 24.
You've been
Like,
doing your homework, have you?
well, I've been listening to the guys in commentary because they say these things and I'm like, all right, that's interesting. Third youngest team, like this team it could dominate, and I don't mean dominate. I mean like be up there challenging now every year for the next 5-6 years. Like it's hard to believe that like from old Arsenal teams that had like one or two great players like a Van Persie and a Fabregas and then they'd leave. Now we have like a whole cohort of team mainly 24, like Odegaard's 24, Saka's 22, Martinelli's 22. Like they're all young players that have four or five like of their best years ahead of them.
Yeah.
And they're and the great thing is the Premier League is the superpower at the moment.
Yeah.
There's no real Barcelonas and Madrids that are going to come and try and entice these players away because the two best teams in Europe challenging for the Champions League this year, people think are Arsenal and City, or maybe Real Madrid or whatever. So they're in a really, really, really good position, I think, going forward. Like, I think, like, I can't really see how they're not going to be up there for the next few years to come. And I suppose that is the best thing about being an Arsenal fan at the moment. I suppose that's
If
it's interesting. Look, go on, Deck, yeah.
No, you can go ahead.
I was gonna say it's interesting. Like I just thought the last couple of games, looking at them on the first point there on Trossard, just how kind of cultured and how confident. Like for me, I know obviously it's hard. Like they're flying at the moment, so I look at like though even the Trossard as a player, and like he's a lot of similarities in ways to Jesus. Although I think he's actually a better finisher than him. And I'm kind
much
of looking
better
at going,
finisher. Yeah.
I'm kind of looking at going like his movement is good. He links up the play well.
Yeah.
What he's doing is he's going false nine, and then Havertz is lobbing in behind.
Yeah.
They don't really know who to mark. Centre backs don't even know who to mark. Like, that seems to be working. Trossard's kind of pulling them around the place. I don't know. I thought looking at them the last few games,
Trossard changed the
there
dynamic.
There's a different dynamic in that front play. There is, and I think if you give him the ball and he gets a chance, he just looks like 9 times out of 10 he's going to put it away. He's got that
he's
in
a
him.
good finisher. Yeah.
The only thing I would say about the Arsenal thing about the age thing, like the problem being for them is that they have a young squad, but expectations are getting higher and higher. Like as you said there, you could say they're second favourites, maybe in most people's eyes, including my own, to win the Champions League. The problem being is that, with all that expectation, if they go a season now trophyless with that team, with the 100 million spent on Rice, we were in the situation last year where people were talking about Arteta and whether or not he has the minerals to kind of get them, to get them over the line. So that kind of question will come up again if they and again, what impact that has if Arsenal were to go close with that young side and not get over the line, what that would do to the mentality of the young players. So that's just the other, I suppose, the other side of it. I agree with you. It's a cracking team. On paper, it's a cracking team.
Interesting few years ahead, anyway.
Definitely. So there was City, Liverpool, and Arsenal. So the rest results over the weekend. So Fulham 1, Villa 2, Newcastle 2, Bournemouth 2. I actually had the pleasure of watching the City and Chelsea match as well with Dan and his two brothers, one of them being a Newcastle fan.
Oh, yeah.
And when Newcastle equalized 2-2, I seen the passion and I seen the love of a club, and
The Geordie in him.
yeah, it was brilliant to see. He was going ballistic for it, and it's just brilliant to see that type of raw passion. So good to see. Nottingham Forest 2, West Ham nil. Moisey is Moisey
Hanging
is
on.
It's
hanging
not getting
on.
any
It's
easier.
no,
Yeah.
definitely not. Three draws,
I,
three losses, last six results.
I love
So
this press conference though. It was like a WWE promo. And it was
yeah,
just a little punchline at the end. He goes, but they haven't won as much as me.
yeah, and he's right.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
he is he won in Europe with them as well. He's kind of brought them, kept them up in the Premier League last few seasons. So I mean,
They are on a horrendous run though.
they
Like as
are.
in
Yeah,
you look at it going, they have a few big games coming up there. Like they play Brentford at home, Everton away, and Burnley at home. Like they're home
right.
to Burnley. Like if they go into them 3 games there and they don't pick up at least 6 or 7 points, like he'd come under a lot more of it. Like like it is a very very bad run. Like they haven't won since Christmas. Like we're nearly in March. We're not far off March. Like
Yeah,
so,
fair enough.
it will. They have Europe come back as well, which isn't going to. It might be a distraction from their league form, but it's not going to help their league form. You wouldn't think, kind of with the squad they have and a few injuries that they have. But I'm still of the opinion that he should be getting. He has a lot more credit in the bank, I suppose. He's the way to put it.
100%.
Yeah.
Absolutely, fully agree. Next one is Spurs 1, Wolves 2, which is a
Mm,
surprise.
good
Neto
game.
Big
Yeah.
surprise.
continues to shine
To
for
impress.
Wolves.
Yeah, he's a good player, isn't he?
It's hard to know how long he'll last at
Good. It could be
Wolves.
a good replacement for Salah if Salah goes this season in summer.
He's a
Yeah,
good player. We were linked with him before. I remember we were linked to a couple of Wolves players. I obviously got data from them, but I know Neto was one that we were linked with. We
Yeah,
were linked with that Nunes lad that went to City. We
City
were linked
last
with him as
season.
well.
Yeah.
yeah.
But yeah, like I think Gary O'Neill, like we were talking about Deck in the pub on
Brilliant. He's
Saturday, like
doing,
geez, like you know, it's some job.
yeah, absolutely. And I mean, the
Hadn't
way
been to
he,
spend like
yeah,
yeah.
100%. He's doing fantastic. Luton 1, Man United 2. Hoyland continues to impress for United, and United in general, their form has picked up big time.
Yeah, yeah, you got to give them their credit.
Yeah,
Manu again, that Manu lad he's top
yeah,
player. I think
he
he's
looks a very
he's
good
going to
player.
be a consistent figure in the field there for them going forward.
They're
Like and look,
definitely, sorry, then go ahead.
go on. No, I was just saying, you look at the table, like we were talking about and Paul, we've had Kieran on here waxing lyrical about them. We've all going to talk about them. And we've talked about, Spurs and how great it's been in the Red Chair. But if you look at the table
Yeah,
now, you're like United who've been slagged off and kind of fucking got a fair kicking most of the season. They're 3 points behind them.
I
Yeah,
know,
yeah. I've
absolutely.
actually, I've been disappointed with Spurs, As an Arsenal fan, I've been disappointed. I thought they might when they got
They're going to win the
Madison
league,
back,
sure.
Yeah,
and Van der Ven, and I was like, look how good they were at the start of the season. I was like, oh, they're gonna start clicking into place again. And it's just falling off the horse again, like a classic Spursy move again by the one and only Spurs.
yeah, very good. And then the final result of the weekend, Sheffield United 0, Brighton 5. I
Oh,
mean, I've thought I've spoken enough about my dislike for Sheffield United, but
oh,
it's kind of results like that that just prove that
A tackle. We all saw the tackle.
Jesus,
uh,
yeah, that was
The
crazy.
assault.
Did you see the young lad came on after it? Is he Serbian
I
or
saw
who's he?
it.
The man that came on, I can't think of his name now. He's a big long name. Is he
He's
Serbian or
a
something? Or,
Eastern
uh,
European name,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah, and came on and he goes, that I can't understand how that was a red card. It was never a red card. And like he was there, like adamant he was. And like your man was kind of like into him going,
Have you
you
seen it?
could be serious
Yeah,
here.
stop.
And he was adamant it wasn't. And it's just shocker of a tackle.
It
And
was
like
awful. It was so
a player
bad.
who's experienced enough, like that, they're dead and buried, aren't they? Even though they
Yeah.
got that win against
Oh,
Luton.
stop. I mean, they're dead and buried. They'll go back down to the championship, be there for 2 or 3 years, probably come back up, do the
Yeah.
exact same again. They're just a team, a club without any ambition,
The
you know?
But
Blades. The Blades.
yeah,
Yeah,
Brighton are kind of creeping back in there as well, aren't they? Up to
absolutely.
seventh.
Yeah,
Yeah,
100%. And then tonight, of course, Everton versus Palace. We saw Hodgson has stepped down.
yeah.
Yeah,
Um,
what happened there? He got sent to hospital and then he was fired.
that's
Well, that's the
Already.
Sun newspaper angle
yeah.
on it anyway.
Or he
It
like
seems
had
to
a
be,
heart
doesn't it?
attack, getting fired
Yeah,
or something.
it seemed to me though that it
Imagine,
seemed a
like,
bit ill-timed, wasn't it? It was kind of
oh,
like
you'd love
they're
to know
plan-
that. Yeah, you'd love to know
yeah, go on.
the
Yeah.
timeline or the chain of events as to what happened first. Did he get did he get fired first, and then he had the heart attack, or did it wasn't even a heart attack. We don't
No,
know, but like,
Oh
they
no.
didn't say what happened. No,
did he get fired and he got pissed off and he became ill, or
What
could
was
he
it?
see it? Could he see it coming and he decided to become ill in the hope that they wouldn't fire him?
What was it? Kieran said the last day. Was it that would he perish? Remember, was that
Yeah.
would he
Irish-
last the rest of the season? As in, like, would he die
Yeah.
before the end of the season?
Oh, jeez.
What do you
But like,
call it?
but he like you wonder like because he is so well in tune and would be well connected. You like did he get a bit of a kind of tip off? Look, there's a board meeting today, or fucked, and then he kind of
Yeah.
was like he pulled the sick card and then kind of go out on his own terms. That now I'm ill and I'm stepping back
Oh god.
as opposed to fucking the apprentice. You're
Oh
fired.
God, I get you.
Like, like we shouldn't be laughing about it, but like
Well,
in the end of
they
the day,
shouldn't.
there's no doubt that it was what was going on in his job is what caused him to go into the hospital. Like
I'd imagine.
Oh yeah,
that's like
definitely.
the stress and the pressure. Like it's
I
100% related to
just,
that. Like,
and
like
hope. I think hopefully he
He's
will
out.
be.
Yeah,
He's
he's
all
out.
right.
Stephen
Yeah,
Parrish has
yeah.
fucking blood in his hands.
Yeah, no,
I just
he
have
is out of
this.
hospital and doing well. And in fairness to
Good,
him, look,
good.
he what he done last year again.
Doing well. Dan working for the Hodgson
Yeah,
family.
yeah.
He's doing well.
He's doing well. He's doing well. He just needs time for rest. Time
You
for
were
rest.
you were talking to
Recharge.
the you were
Yeah.
you were
The family
talking
wants
to
some privacy
I
at the
did.
moment.
I did. I talked to the Hodgsons, and he's doing well. He's recovering well at home. He has a nice cup of cocoa now and a box of Lindor, and he's
Oh
okay.
my God. I just have this image of Hodgson sitting up in a hospital bed saying, tell them to fuck off. I'm not talking to them. Anyways, very good. Roy, I think, look, he's 75, 76.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe it's time just to
Interesting appointment as well. I don't know
the
you're following
the Frankfurt lad, isn't it?
Yeah, your man. He sounds like is a Glasner, is it? He sounds like a guy
Yeah.
that should be playing in the ATP there in the tennis or something. But
Okay.
when I heard his name, but he done well wherever he's kind of gone. He seems to have done well, and with Frankfurt, what seems to come across is that he does well, but also he's a bit of a mouth on him, and he has a tendency to kind of get into, I suppose, trouble and fall out with people, whether it be sport directors or CEOs or whatever like that. But like he won the Europa with Frankfurt.
Yeah.
Oh,
I
right.
think the 2 European finishes, and even before that, I think he was at Wolfsburg, and he done well there as well. He had Weghorst up front. He seems to be able to play with a low budget, with no money at all, which you won't have at Palace, I wouldn't imagine.
Yeah.
Bar they sell one or two, they're like them lads. You would think Elisa and Eze probably the centre back as well. It's man Gea, is it, or Gea? Like, there's
Yeah.
man Mitchell. There's a few of them lads that are you could see bigger clubs coming in from them. I think. Yeah.
Definitely.
But yeah, look, be interesting to see now would he keep them up? Because they are in a battle tonight, like against Everton. It's a 6-pointer, like.
Absolutely. All right, we'll move on. Dan, send Roy our best. What do what do you call it? Right, we're moving on to the second topic this evening, which is all of the other European leagues. So in this specific segment, the French league, Italian league, Spanish league, and German league. So just a quick discussion on those four leagues, and I suppose how they relate to the Premier League in terms of kind of what they can do to improve their leagues and to get to the level of the Premier League. It's just on France, for example. PSG are, as you all know, Mbappe is going to be leaving in the summer. They're currently 13 points ahead. They call it the Farmers League, etc. It has become a one-team league. I mean, there were what do you call it? Monaco won it 1 year, Lille won it another year, but in general, it has become a one-team league, and I suppose. Yeah, like I mean, how do they change that? I know PSG are going to a more of a kind of a homegrown players model, and the Galacticos, if you want to call them, they are kind of being shipped out. Mbappe being the last one. So, I mean, do you see the French league improving, or will it just be more of the same?
I think it needs more money. I think you can't have. It's kind of like if you had another power in there that like some other country that bought a few of the other clubs to
Yeah.
make it a bit more exciting. I know that's terrible to say, but like
No, it's true though.
that is the fact. Like, you know what I mean? And we're talking about the Spanish league, German league is an interesting one this year, but the Spanish league as well, Madrid, like it's getting to a point where you have just one dominating team, and with that, the team decline or the league itself declines. Like, it's kind of funny in the Premier League because we have City, obviously they've won what, 5 or 4 out of the last 5 or 5 last 6 or whatever it is. But it's been competitive. There's always been a
100%.
competitive edge
Yeah.
till the very end, like, you know what I mean? And that's what makes it as an
Absolutely, yeah.
audience exciting. And then the TV revenue gets bigger, and the clubs then have more money. So it's a whole knock-on effect.
I'll just
If
give
you
you
take
some kind
France,
of
just say if you take France though, it was always like Lyon and Marseille were two of the kind of dominant forces in France,
Yeah.
and like they've both fallen really off the cliff, like they're shite. And they're struggling in their league this year. I think it's a Brest or second in the league. Is it Brest?
Yeah.
I think,
Yes,
So like and their PSG are miles clear. And I even think that the titles that PSG haven't won, it's a bit pathetic given the superpower that they are and the money that they have. That like they let Lille, that actually managed to lose out on a league title to Lille. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
I think Poch, is it Poch? Did Poch lose the title? Or
was it Poch?
there's another manager there as well that was like, Emery, he lost to
Yeah, I mean they've had a lot of big managers.
Tuchel was there as well, wasn't he?
Yeah, they've had a lot of like big managers, but as Howard said there, I think he's right. Like it's the money with all of them other European leagues, and just as we're focusing on France, like you look at PSG, they've kind of got rid now of a lot of the big superstars. But they're
on the money side, Dan. I've kind of wrote down a few figures, but just before I go into them, so the French league, PSG are 13 points ahead. The Italian league, Inter are 9 points ahead of Juventus. Spanish league, Real Madrid are 6 points ahead of Girona. German league, Leverkusen are 8 points ahead of Bayern. So as you can see, in each of those individual leagues, you're having a team that's in some cases running away with it. In other cases, they're well ahead. Whereas the English league, you have what do you call it? You've only three or 4 points divided.
2 points, yeah.
No, 2 point divided like three clubs. So it's so much more competitive. And now in terms of money from the Premier League, so match day revenue, all right, in England for the 23 season was 901 million.
All right.
Spain 409, Germany 277, Italy 231 million, France 225 million.
Interesting. I didn't hear these figures before.
That's match day revenue, okay, over the whole season per country. So you can see how far ahead England are.
That's just ticket stack, is it? Just tickets.
That's just everything that happens on the match day.
It's not televisation and all that.
You got the TV figures.
Yeah, I have the broadcasting revenue now as well for the same season. So for England, 3.5 billion. For Spain, 1.9 billion. Germany 1.4 billion, Italy 1.3 billion, and France 729 million. So England is like 3 times literally Germany, Italy, and France combined. England is bringing in more broadcasting revenue. So I suppose what I kind of wanted to bring this up was what can these other 4 countries, because I don't think there are any other leagues. Maybe the Dutch league could come in there as the next one, but they are the 4 main ones that are, if they will ever challenge England, it will be one of those 4. What can they do to improve their league to get to the level of the Premier League? What can they learn from the Premier League?
I think it's just what Howard said earlier on. I don't think it's about learning, because if you think about it, a number of years ago, that would have been Spain maybe top, Italy second, right? Italy and Spain nearly final out, and England would have been 3rd or 4th on that list in regards to revenue, but also even in regards to popularity. So I think it comes down to, as Howard said earlier on there, a few big wigs coming in that have the few pounds to kind of go and to generate it, to make it more attractive, because all the best players are all going to England. All the best managers are going to England.
It's a circle. It's a simple, like, you have the money on one side, so players and managers are coming to a country because they're getting paid more. And the best players and the best managers are in the country, so the best football is being played in the country, so more people tune in, so more money goes into that country. So it's all just it's a vicious circle. So like you need to get the best players and best managers. Like look at the Saudis, what they try to do, try to get the best players and managers into it, and grow football in the country. So it's a tough fight from here. Like, first of all, I think La Liga was the competitor, wasn't it, really, to the Premier League over the last 10 years? Like,
it was.
Barcelona and Madrid, like, against the likes of United and Liverpool and Arsenal and all that kind of stuff. That's kind of fallen away a bit now, and that's simply because La Liga has had strict financial issues and cut down on the money that basically they can spend. Barcelona are falling away. They're in so much debt because they've been paying Messi crazy amount of money. I found out Frankie De Jong is on 700 grand a week. Can you believe
Wow.
that? Frankie De Jong is on set like it's crazy.
Lewandowski's on big wages as well. I think he's on
It's
big money as well. Yeah.
it's that like poorly managed clubs
Yeah, absolutely.
from these countries has caused the leagues to decline and for the English league to strive. And it's like what we said, the European Super League is now pretty much the Premier League,
Premier League, yeah,
becoming the
absolutely.
Premier League. So
Yeah.
You could make an argument that if so to say Madrid probably being the kind of key example here, like if the Bellingham has gone there, Mbappe probably one of the biggest names in world football, looks like he may end up there.
Yeah.
It's up for debate where he'll end up, but so again that will bring a lot more revenue bumps and seats, make them a lot more exciting. Will make them stronger. But also what could impact on the Premier Leagues will be the Man City outcome, because if that goes a certain way across Europe, it will
Yeah.
be a blow financially to the Premier League as well in a lot of different ways. So there could be a bit of a shift, but I still think that, as Howard said, like the money game is such a big factor.
Yeah.
With the way
What
things are now.
Yeah, no, there's one thing I kind of thought about earlier on as well. What the Premier League done when they were behind the Liga, and I won't say they were ever behind the Bundesliga, but they were definitely on par with them. They were definitely behind La Liga for a long, long time, probably
And Italy, but
Serie A as well.
as
Serie A
well.
as
But
well.
Italy was
Absolutely. But I think, and I may be wrong on this, but for a long time, especially when the Premier League was formed in the early 90s, mid 90s, 2000s, there were so many more English players playing for these English clubs. And then clubs got their act together and started kind of setting up these much, much more developed scouting networks. They were scouring the planet for European, African, South American footballers. And you see in the Premier League today just how many different nationalities are playing. And with different nationalities, etc., you get different styles of play. And it improves the league. Whereas for years they weren't doing that. And I suppose it was to the benefit of Irish football that so many Ireland football players were over in England plying their trade, and our country's football team kind of improved as a result. But now you've seen that where like Irish players, like they're not getting a look in many cases because there's so many different nationalities and like more and better players in the Premier League coming from so many different kind of countries that like basically the Premier League kind of saw what they were doing and they said, all right, we need to improve. And they did that by kind of extending their whole branch across the whole world, and they got so many new players in. And the
that
Premier League,
grew the brand like of the Premier League. But I think it's
absolutely.
gotten there's so much money in the game now that I think what you just stated there probably isn't as irrelevant to a new startup league than it used to be, because like you have the likes of Brighton, right? And they're after signing I can't remember his name, but they're after signing pretty much some up and coming star, I don't know, from the Norwegian league. But they spent like 30 million on him or something like that. You know what I mean? The other crowd as well, Brentford signed a striker, Igor Thiago, to replace Tony in the summer for 30 million off Club Bruges. Like they're not the feeder, they're not basically getting in and chancing someone from the African League or out. They are going after the prime top talents around Europe for like your 20-30 million fee. But that's because they have the money. Them middle clubs in the Premier League now have more money than the top clubs in the other leagues. Like so it's gone crazy now that the scouting thing is kind of it's becoming irrelevant from trying to find like a really, really cheap player, I guess.
Yeah, so I suppose it probably, I mean, for the foreseeable anyways, like it's not going to change. I mean, France, PSG, it's a one-team league. Italy, fair enough, you've Inter, you've Juventus, AC Milan, but Inter do look to be the strongest.
But the thing was, that was a lot tighter there. I think Juventus have no win in like 5 games or something. Like that was tighter, I think, between Inter and Juventus up until the last couple of weeks, and then it looked probably maybe a bit more. And I think I'm right in that. I think it was. I remember checking it out a little while ago, and it was the way it was. And I think in Spain, like, I know we're talking about Madrid, like, but like Barca won the league last year in Spain. And where they're kind of a bit off it this year. I think Xavi's going in the summer and that as well, but like they're still in. I suppose them and Madrid are still in the Champions League. I don't think Barcelona will probably get up a whole lot, but their team isn't bad. Like they have a decent
Yeah.
Yeah.
squad, Barca, and that as well. Maybe they need a better manager. Maybe the Xavi thing just isn't going the
Yeah.
way that they want. But I do think
But
that the
it,
money thing, as Howard had said, like the money thing is the thing. Like how long can they keep trying to buy themselves out of this fucking hole of debt that they're in?
Yeah.
Before it eventually collapses.
but your man is Ansu Fati or whatever is from,
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
he's like was supposed to be like the up and coming star for Barcelona,
mm,
and Brighton have him now. Like,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
like that, like years ago that would never have happened. And like I think it's getting to the point now, if this keeps going in that direction, you're gonna have pretty much the mid table in Premier League are gonna could beat Barcelona.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And what do you do then? I think you have to look at this Super League then, and I'm not talking about a Super League that involves the UK teams. Maybe a Super League of the mainland European teams. That would be my what I'd be going for. Imagine getting like the likes of PSG, Ajax, Bayer Leverkusen, Bayern Munich, the Milans, Madrid, and Barca all in one league, and then the UK is the Premier League. You have still have the Premier League, and then you have whatever tournament between the lot of them in as a Champions League thing. I just think that could be, if the
Yeah.
European side of things keeps falling off the way it is, could be a solution.
If, like, I suppose, if you see continued, like, City won the Champions League last year, like, if it was to kind of, if we were going into the next decade with English teams dominating in the Champions League over the
And
next
they
10
should.
years,
They
they,
should though.
absolutely.
Oh, it
Look at
should,
that. They
yeah.
should. Yeah.
If that was to happen, you never know what could kind of happen in, you know, because of that. But we'll see.
But I think it would be. I think there is a few bits that are kind of gone down. Like, it's kind of sad, like, in a way, that the European side of things, like the Champions League, like Arsenal have been in it so long. I just don't feel it. It's the same quality.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? I know we were saying that earlier on, but like, and like, it's just
It's not. So is it? It's not. When you look
it's
at them, like them last 16 ties, there's none of them there really where you're like, oh,
you're
that's
just like,
the
oh God, it could go either way. Like, like or like Arsenal were to play Barcelona, I would be comfortable enough that Arsenal would be Barcelona.
Yeah.
But like, again, you don't know. But like, it's just there is a bit of a decline there, and it's great for the Premier League in one sense, and then it's kind of crap,
Yeah.
completely crap from a fan's point of view in the other sense.
It's
They
interesting as well. We did mention Germany there as well, like what's going on there with we talked a couple of weeks ago about Munich being maybe one of the threats in the Champions League, and that they're kind of
Yeah.
now at the moment they're going through a fierce blip, and like
absolutely,
they
yeah.
look they're looking like their league. I thought now that they'd haul Leverkusen back in, but they lost again at the weekend there, and it looked like, which is actually great for that league. I think Munich won the last 12 or something, or like
Yeah, something
they're
stupid. Yeah, yeah,
talking about leagues that are we're calling the French league, the Farmers League, and that as well. But like Munich have just absolutely dominated.
Yeah.
And what they've done every season is they just went and bought the best players at Dortmund, just bought them every season.
yeah.
So like
Yeah.
it will be class for that league, I think, if Leverkusen go over the line. For me, if it happens though, I think would it nearly be more of a incentive for Alonso to move on if they win it?
Absolutely. Yeah, but I mean, I'm reading today as well that Tuchel is under pressure a little bit. So I
Mm.
mean, Bayern are looking at him as well as
Yeah,
Liverpool,
yeah.
you know.
Yeah. If you look at it and like they're going by the form of what Munich do, that's usually what they do. Let's go and bully
Yeah.
all the other German teams to take the best that they
Yeah, they
have.
do. Like, I know, I can't remember his name. He was like a sporting director for Bayern, but he always kind of claims that Bayern are the people's club.
Yeah.
They don't charge too much for season tickets, etc. But yet they do go. They go and bully
Oh yeah.
whatever
They just
team
buy them.
comes. Yeah, they just
Rummenigge, is it? Rummenigge is
whatever.
that?
Yes, that's him. Whatever team
Yeah.
comes second, they just go and buy their players or take their manager or whatever. And yeah.
Yeah.
But anyways, yes, a lot to be learned from the Premier League and how a league should be run, but at the same time, have they become so good at it that it's to the detriment of the rest of Europe? So watch this space, I guess. Fantasy football. Dan, how was the weekend to everybody?
Yeah, it was a bit of a crazy weekend. So we're
Uh,
only halfway through because we have the extra games of the double game week. But
oh yeah.
it was a bit crazy because in our league, an awful lot of people, including myself, I think you, Howard, as well, triple captain talent.
Yeah, did anyone not
Ah,
triple cap? Did anyone not do it?
the people, I think a few people who haven't have already used the triple captain, and there's a
Ah,
couple of
right.
others who are sitting licking their lips now because they maybe thought that Haaland is still maybe not that level that he was before his injury. So there's a few that haven't used their triple captain yet. So they are licking their lips. But there is still the second game to go where if Haaland went and banged in 2 or 3 against Brentford, you wouldn't be surprised. So there's still hope there.
It's
But
kind of cancel it out though once everyone has it. Like, you know what I
an
mean?
awful
It's
lot of
just
people
like,
did it. Yeah, an awful lot of people had in there. Interesting enough, though, like say, like even myself there, had Nunes, had Jota, like an awful lot of people have them players as well. In the last 2 weeks who got injured, a few put in Salah, which was interesting to see them put them straight back in, and they're reaping the benefits there in the table. I see the Hurt Locker FC in particular there up to third place. He had Solanke and he had Saka, and he'd stuck Salah back in. So is sitting there. He got 72 points, which was one of the highest this week. Andrew Curly Worley's is still leading the way there, and he actually has what's he got? Like a 30 point, 25, 30 point gap there. But again, nearly everybody has triple captains. Haaland. So yeah, as you said, it kind of won't cause too much damage. I've seen a lot of people put in Alvarez, so I think including yourself, Howard, went and put
Okay.
in.
I already had him.
And
Yeah, I already
I
had
already
him.
had him. A lot of people
Yeah.
doubled up on trebled up on City and Liverpool players. So it'll be
Yeah.
all eyes on Tuesday, Wednesday night to see will Pep rotate. Liverpool probably with injuries now aren't in a position to rotate as much. So if you've
Yeah.
got the likes of Diaz, he's probably going to play 2 games.
Diaz,
Salah will
yeah.
probably play if he's fit. Nunes will be the one. Will he play if he's fit? But looking at De Bruyne and Foden, an awful lot of people have them in. What do you reckon, Beck? Will De Bruyne and Foden playing around 90 minutes, or do you think is there a few others that might get a look at Silva? I know maybe he's back now. Will he,
I
after his knock, will he
I
play in
think
front instead of one of them?
no, I think the fact that we're 3-1 up in the Champions League and we have Brentford tomorrow night and Bournemouth on Saturday. So I would imagine that De Bruyne and Foden will both and Haaland. Yeah, he'll go strong tomorrow night. I think he has to. Absolutely, and especially with Liverpool playing the Carabao Cup, you could call that Saturday our game in hand. So yeah, we have to go strong. We have to kind of Chelsea game aside, we have to kind of start getting goals and stop leaking goals. Stop leaking stupid goals, which is, as you said there at the weekend as well, like Diaz has not been having the season that like he has had before. So there's a couple areas that we need to improve
But
in.
they change a lot as well around him. Like they don't
Yeah,
have a settled. Again, looking at their back line, Walker was left out for a couple of games there. He was back in.
yeah,
It's been a candy. Like Stones, you were waxing about there, like about how good he is. He's a brilliant player. Like he's in and out of the side as well.
yeah,
Like you
yeah.
know what I mean. Like they don't seem to have a settled back four for whatever reason that's for. But yeah, so look, it'll be interesting fantasy football wise there to see what way will Pep roulette, which does usually happen though. I'd be interested to see now will Silva come in? Will he play? Like De Bruyne played 90 against the Champions League, but 90 the weekend, am I right?
Yeah.
Will he go for another 90, or will he be someone that might be, and also as well Foden, like Foden really was non-existent for most of the game at the weekend, and like that as well. I think he was the same in their last game, playing from that wide right, not getting into the middle. So will they continue with that, or will maybe they mess around, put Silva out to the right, maybe get De Bruyne a bit of a rest and play maybe Foden in that position behind Haaland.
Maybe,
Interesting to
yeah.
see. But anyway, yeah. So look, that's the fantasy football. As I said, there's still people there still use a wild card. I've used my wild card. Have you, Howard?
I have it.
You have
I'm
used
gonna
it.
no,
You
I'm
haven't,
gonna have
yeah.
it. No, I'm gonna use it. Um, yeah, in the next week or two.
Yeah.
I actually
So
I had 2 free transfers, so I was able to get a Chelsea or a City and Liverpool player in. So I was like, it would have been a waste if I used it on last week. So I'm
yeah,
holding on to it.
the problem being for people who do have 3 Liverpool or 3 City
Yeah, they have
players
a
is that
blank. Yeah,
they don't. There's no game for them next weekend because of the Carabao
yeah,
Cup. So
yeah.
I looked at my team there for next weekend, and I only have 6 players that are actually
Yeah.
going to play. So I'll have to have a look at that and
But
see
that's
what.
why where the old wild card might come in handy, to put it in there. But then you have to try and get the City and Liverpool players back in. So
I have a funny
Yeah,
story. I have a funny story for you as well, actually. At the weekend when I was having a drink with Dan and his brothers. Dan, I think he was gone to the toilet or something, and then his brothers were telling me this very funny story, Dan. It's about fantasy football, so it's nothing
yeah,
bad about it. It's just funny. So every week, to all the listeners, every week Dan sends on a screenshot of the league and the standings, and what's it called? I usually cut out the top 10 and I stick that up on Instagram and I tag everyone that's in it. But then they made a very good point that I kind of thought about, and I go, they're absolutely right. If Dan isn't in the top 10, if Dan is in 11th or 12th, Dan will always send me on a screenshot of the top 12. if Dan is in 14th, Dan will always send me on a screenshot with the top 14. You know?
Puts me
Can I
out.
send you hang on, can I send you a counter argument there,
Go
okay?
for it. Yeah, go for it.
So Howard, if you go onto your phone now, okay, and if you go down to where first is on it, and you see where it finishes, it nearly always finishes with your name because you've been in 14th or 15th for like the last one.
Ah,
Actually,
this is
when you do the screenshot from first, it actually finishes there, Declan. So that is it. So it's not me just egotistical maniac that I have to be in it. It just so happens that I've actually been in the top 10 or in around the top 12, for
Okay.
a long
top
time now.
15.
And then your brother, hold on, it even gets
Go
even
on.
better.
Yeah.
I think you were 11th, and for most of the weeks, your brother Alex has been ahead of you.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
this
Yeah.
one week you got ahead of him.
He's
Alex,
jammy though. He's a jammy man, that man. Yeah.
so this is very funny though. You were in 11th. This one week you got ahead of him, and he was in 12th. Okay, and the screenshot you sent on to me was 1 to 11. You wouldn't even give him the decency of including your brother in the screenshot. So it was funny as hell. It was brilliant. But yeah, Dan, keep sending them on. Maybe you might include Howard from time to time.
Yeah, yeah. No, but interestingly enough, like when you look at the table there now,
Making a
I'm
comeback,
11th.
baby.
Howard, no, but Howard's 13th. But like we're not too far from being caught all together.
Oh,
No one
really?
way or the other. We'll either be in the top 10 now, and or we could end up being fucking 17th or 18th. Yeah,
Okay.
it's there's not much in it. Yeah, we have a small few points
We'll
to play with
see.
there, but we're under pressure. Howard, we need to get things moving. Moving up
100%.
that table.
And just a reminder, the winner of fantasy football at the end of the season will win a club jersey of their choice. So now we'll move on to finally the weekend predictions. So this coming weekend, the games we've picked: Arsenal versus Newcastle, Palace versus Burnley, and the Carabao Cup final, Chelsea versus Liverpool. So, Dan, Arsenal versus Newcastle. This is your turn to get some back on your brother.
I go for 3-0 Arsenal.
Oh,
It's a big win, isn't it?
big
Yeah,
win,
no,
yeah.
I don't know whether or not he's Wilson's out for 12 weeks. They're playing Gordon, I think, through the middle. And yeah, I just think that they're still struggling a bit. Like that was a poor enough result to talk again at the weekend. I don't know if you've seen the mistake
Yeah.
by Dubravka. Like they're
Yeah,
just
Christ.
them mistakes have been happening for weeks now, where they've just been giving away City goals, and like Arsenal are flying. And I think it's a very different Newcastle side that Arsenal played earlier in the season, and vice
Yeah.
versa. So that'll be my reckoning on that. But sure, I get fuck all of these right anyway. So God loves a trier.
Indeed.
I'll
Howard,
go
what do you
I'll go
think?
3-1. 3-1. Yeah.
You're getting confident, though. I can sense it. You're getting
I've
confident.
got a few scores right now last while, but
No, not
yeah.
even. No, apologies. Not even about the score. I mean,
Oh,
with
about Arsenal.
Arsenal,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
you're getting giddy.
Yeah, I've had to back them now since Christmas. Like I had to back them, but it's hard.
So
Like
how?
I Newcastle after that whole game and thing, and it started to grind on me a bit. Newcastle this season, they're like starting to piss me off, and
Is there anyone that's not?
the dirtbag. So I'd be happy, I'd be delighted if Arsenal have them.
You see
It'd be a
their
very
sporting
sweet win.
director. You seen that thing with their
Yeah,
sporting
he's
director as
going to
well. It's
United.
all kind of going a bit pear shaped
Right.
at the moment for them, isn't it?
Yeah.
They got taken over too late. Simple as that. They're not able to
You reckon?
spend.
Yeah.
They can't do what they wanted to do.
So you're admitting he cheated? Is that what you're saying?
Not at all. Well,
There you
They don't
go.
have a good enough
There you
accountant,
go.
is what you're saying.
I'm saying that they got taken over too late. All these rules and regulations came into play.
Oh yeah.
Couldn't do what they had planned on doing in terms of spending,
Couldn't do what
etc.
City did. Is that what you're saying?
Is that what you're saying?
That's what you're saying. I
That's
think
not
that's
what
what
I
I'm reading
said.
between the
I'm
lines.
talking about Newcastle. You're obsessed with City, Dan. That's going to be your downfall. Your obsession with what Man City are doing. You're not kind of concentrating on Liverpool.
I can tell you now, when that court case comes to light and on this podcast, I'm going to wear a suit every week. And
Deal. I'll do the same thing. If we get away with it, if
We
we
could do
get
like
away
we could
with
do
it,
like a daily or weekly,
yeah.
court thing. And Dan would be there flying over to Manchester in the
breaking
court,
news.
could see Pep's face and how his reaction. He'd be doing the sketches up of Pep, on the stand,
Yeah.
like
Very good. That's very good.
Scratching his bald fucking head.
Yeah.
Actually, at the weekend as well, every time Pep scratched his head, Dan took a drink. It was very, very good.
The pint didn't last long.
Yeah, no. Palace versus Burnley, then. This is a big, big game. I think if
It has
Burnley
to be
don't
the
get it,
bounce.
yeah.
Have to go for the bounce here for the Palace. new manager bounce. So I will go. I'll go 2-1 Palace.
Palace. Howard?
Palace.
Yeah, I'll go 2-0 Palace.
2-0 Palace. If Hodgson watching at home cursing the TV.
This could be the final nail in the coffin.
Honest to God, Okay, now Carabao Cup final, Chelsea versus Liverpool. Howard, I'll go to you first.
Chelsea versus Liverpool. Is that
And you can also,
oh,
if
the
you need,
Carabao Cup. Sorry, I thought you were on about league.
yeah,
Okay, sorry.
if you'd also like to say, you can also say extra time penalties as well if you want for this one.
I'm gonna say 2-1 Liverpool. I just think
Normal time,
Chelsea might start well, and yeah, normal time. And I think they'll just bottle at Chelsea. I don't think they have the mental strength to win anything yet. But look, I could be wrong.
You really don't like Chelsea.
I'd happily Liverpool win that game. Happily, yeah.
Okay. Dan, Chelsea and Liverpool.
Yeah, I go 3-1 Liverpool.
3-1 Liverpool. Okay.
What are you saying, Deck?
I think it's gonna go to extra time and penalties and Liverpool will win. I think Liverpool will win, but I do think that the injuries are gonna play their part. Yeah, knowing your luck at the moment, Dan, someone else is gonna get injured on Sunday.
That's it. The Luton game during the week, so they kind of
That's right.
saying 3-1 now, but you just don't fucking know what way that's gonna go during the week. But I still think if it turns out that on Sunday that we can play Diaz, Nunes, and Salah,
Yeah.
think that will cause a lot of problems for Chelsea, and I'll be with Howard there as well. I think it's an enormous game for Chelsea because I still think that even though they're uptake, you could say they're uptaking form. Like if they lose the Carabao Cup, they're like the league, like they're only like scrapping to try and get a position like this is kind of nearly their season. If they were to manage to get silverware with all the abuse they're taking, with all the money, it's a cup, like it's a step in the right direction for them. So I do think there's an enormity there, and I don't know whether or not a lot of that young Chelsea team would be up for that. Yeah.
Fair enough. All right. So if you can send in your predictions for those 3 games to us on Instagram by Friday at 10 p.m. If you are correct with three predictions, you will be the winner of 2 match tickets to a Premier League team of your choice. That looks like it's us for the week, man. Any other business to discuss?
All good.
All good. Dan, anything else you want to bring
up? All good.
Okay. Next week, next Monday. As far as I know, as of now, we have Lenny and Kieran on board. So we're going to have a 5-man panel next week. Just a once off. I don't want to have 5 people on, especially my brother as well. So what do they call it? 5 of us on next week. And so we will be talking to you then. Man, have a good week.
Great.
Cheers, Deck, as always.
See you, Deck.
All
See you,
right,
folks.
cheers,
Come on the pool.
Come on the pool. All right, good luck.